Hello everyone, it's Michael Lazar here, and welcome back to the channel. And before we begin today's video, I'd like to wish you guys a very happy new year. Now, because it is the new year, I would like to do a Q&A video, so if you have any questions about Byzantine or singing technique or music, put them in the comments below. Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing tone 7. Now, there are three variations of tone 7. You have tone 7 on Ra enharmonically, tone 7 on Zo enharmonically, and tone 7 on Zo diatonically. And we are going to be focusing on the last one. Now, just like all the other diatonic modes, tone 7 on Zo follows the same diatonic scale, as in the intervals between the notes are going to be the same. What changes is going to be the attraction between some of the notes on the scale. Now, the attractions are outlined differently by some people, but in this video, I'm going to give you the most commonly used attractions and when to use them. Now, if you have not seen my video on the diatonic scale, you should go and review that before you watch this video so that when we shift it, it makes sense and doesn't look very weird. So here is the entire scale from Zo to Zo. Now I'm going to sing what the scale sounds like with the attractions added with it. Zo ni pa vu ra vi ke zo ke di ra vu pa ni zo. So, there's a few changes. If you're going to sing this straight diatonically, it'd be like this. Zo ni pa vu ra vi ke zo ke di ra vu pa ni zo. But that's wrong, because you're not adding some of the attractions. Some of the notes want to stick to the other notes. So how do we identify the attractions? Well, I think the best way to explain it is to break the scale up into individual parts and explain each part. So here we have the bottom portion of the scale. Zo ni pa vu pa ni zo. This is going to stay the same. There's not really going to be any attractions related to these four notes, which is good. So you have the bottom part of the scale. Zo ni pa vu pa ni zo, which is normal. The next part of the scale is between pa and the. When you're cadencing between pa and the, tone 7 on Zo is treated like tone 1. So, pa vu ra di ra vu pa. So the ra is natural. Pa vu ra vu di ra vu pa. So, from pa to the, it is going to be like tone 1. The ra is natural. So the next attraction we have in the scale is when we're cadencing around the. So, the, ke, di, ra. The reason why I'm putting these three notes here, not anymore, is because things can change if we add a Zo to the equation or we go down past the ra. So, if we're cadencing around the ra wants to be attracted to the. The, ra, the, ke, di, ra, di. Now, if we're just touching the ke and coming back to the, it's only 12. If we go past ke to Zo, something changes here. Now, here is the upper section of the scale. So, ra, di, ke, zo, ni, pa. So, di, ra, di. It's the same. But what changes here is the ke is attracted to the Zo. Di, ke, zo. And the Zo, although it does have that still flat quality to it that is preserved in the diatonic scale, it becomes a little bit more natural. The ke zo, because if the ke is becoming sharper, it has to resolve to a more natural Zo. The ra the ke zo. The ke is unstable, the Zo is more stable. The ra the ke zo. And then, if you are on Zo and you want to move to a higher note, remember what I said in the beginning? Zo to vu is going to be the same. So, zo ni pa vu pa ni zo ke zo. So, that is the upper half of the scale. Now, something does change. So, the last thing that should be noted is when you're going from a higher cadence, so from pa or Zo, and resolving back down to the. So, rather than having the ke zo, something changes. Pa ni zo ke di. The Zo becomes flat and attracted to the natural ke when you're going down. Now this is optionally added. Some people do not interpret this, but you can interpret it. As it is a common theme used throughout the diatonic modes, I think that on occasion it is appropriate to add this to certain parts of some hymns. Now, another way I highly recommend that you practice virisonzo is just to listen around. Listen to hymns that use it, because the way I kind of formulated these attractions was obviously through a textbook. You can look them up, but I think textbook explanations can be really hard to understand, and you can really get bogged down with some weird details and words you might not understand. So the best way to learn is through listening. Just look up tone 7 zo or varis. You can look it up with the Greek alphabet, varis. And they are really, really, really easy to follow, because once you kind of know what to look for, when you hear them, you're like, oh, that makes sense. So when you look at the music, you can be like, this is what it should sound like. Now, this method is not only something you can use for virisonzo. You can use this method of listening and reproducing for essentially every tone out there, but it works very, very well for virisonzo. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you liked and subscribed. Now, remember, I said if you have any questions, to leave them in the comments below for a Q&A. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a great day and a great new year.